Tell me your thoughts about the game last night between the Predators and the Sharks.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, and you can ask Justin this. To my death, I will tell you that Nashville is one of the more underrated teams in the league. Coming into the playoffs, everyone had them losing to Anaheim. Coming into the series, everyone had them getting, losing 5 to the Sharks. And they very well may still lose to the Sharks. But I think they showed in these 2 games at home how good of a team they really are. Really giving it to the Sharks. And there was that call, non-call towards the end, or in overtime. But the fact that they can respond and so early into the morning, they can, find a way to win. It speaks, wonders to the tenacity of this team.
They did it for Carey.
Underwood.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of an afterthought, but beyond Mike Fisher. But Justin, you also stayed up.
Oh, I did.
To watch this game.
It was a great game.
Let's hear your thoughts.
I didn't get to see the first, second, or third periods because we were watching Deadpool, but started in the first overtime, so I still got to watch a full game of hockey with 3 overtimes.
Right.
But it was absolute insanity. Chance per chance on either end. Nashville was actually dominating, had zone time for one period for 4 straight minutes. They just had line after line of zone time. It was fantastic.
Even during regulation, they dominated a lot of the game.
But that one controversial call, I don't really see where Peter DeBoer is. Well, I can kind of see where he's coming from, that he was pushed in. But there's pushed in, and the goalie gets moved a little bit. Pekka got, tossed with how hard he was hit. Regardless of pushed in or not, Pavelski did not try to stop.
The thing with that is, and the Flyers actually got screwed by it towards the end of the season. Yeah, a couple times. I remember distinctly towards the end of the season when they lost. I think they had a goal overturned because of incidental contact. Goalie interference is when the player himself goes into the player. Yep. Incidental contact means the goalie can't make a save because an opposing player is preventing that, no matter how. When Pekka's outside of the crease with a guy laying on top of him, he can't make the save. Right. So I don't know how it's expected that he would, that's incidental contact. That's why it's no goal.
No, the referees got that one right. I have no problem with what the referees said. I have a bit of an issue with Peter DeBoer and the rest of the San Jose Sharks arguing as much as they did over the call, which delayed that period of overtime for a rather long.
Oh, yeah.
He was trying to get to sleep. We're college students. We still have to do things in the morning no matter how late we stay up. Some comments off already. We have Jim saying, I basically called the Predators. So, there's one supporter
for
it.
I appreciate you, Jim.
And then Jason said, Preds, so we get that number 17 pick. And then he said, Jim, don't make me put in the word for Florida-Georgia line. So we could see a very ruckus-heavy middle of the show. But jumping into the main lineup that Justin has helped me set up for today, we're going to start off with probably some of the best news for Flyers. This is going to be a very Flyers-heavy show amidst all the Drake Cogulia name, where's he going? Frank Saravalli tweeted in 10 minutes or 12 minutes ago. He tweeted that Philly's out of the race, put it down between Edmonton and Vancouver. And Brian Sloan from Sons of Penn did some research, found out that Vancouver had signed one of his teammates relatively recently, and then last year they drafted one of his teammates. So there might be a very high chance that he ends up going to Vancouver. But you never know. Frank is a very trusted guy. I trust his word. He's a very accredited journalist in the sports world, being from Philly, and it's going to be tough to see where he lands, but if he's wrong, I kind of hope he's wrong here.
I do too. You never know what the player's thinking until he actually decides it.
But until we hear those rumors, we're going to talk about Ivan Provorov. So we got to touch on him a little bit in the beginning of the season while we were evaluating players and seeing who we liked and didn't like. He's had a pretty stellar performance so far in the WHL championships. He's basically led his team to the championship, and now they're fighting to go further. What do you guys think are his chances in making the defensive core for the Flyers?
Honestly, 95%. The kid has so much confidence in himself. He declared himself NHL ready, wins WHL Defenseman of the Year. The amount of points he puts up, the moves he's making, the dekes, the shots, just everything he makes is smart. All his decisions are smart. Honestly, he could beat out people on this team.
It's tough to say. I think he has a good chance of making the team, especially because, it's a wide open core right now. When you got guys like Nick Schultz and Andrew McDonald putting in time for you, anyone could come in. So having a rookie like him come in who has skill would be awesome. Again, it is, I'm not saying he's going to put up 70 points, 20 goals.
Guys with experience and leadership capabilities. And as much as we don't want him, McDonald is most likely going to be fluctuating between the NHL and AHL.
I honestly, with how he played in the playoffs and how he played this season, I wouldn't mind it. If he can keep stepping it up like this, I wouldn't mind it.
Even Nick Schultz, to a degree, might actually stay because he's been a captain before. He's been an A for a long period of time. I think he could very well stay around also, but it's going to be hard to find, and Hackstall's not going to push Provorov. He might just put Provorov in the minors and wait to see if his game translates there, and it might be another thing with Ghost where we see a stark jump between how we think he might do and how he actually does.
I think it attests to the patience of Ron Hextall when he got drafted, everyone was saying he had a chance of being the best defenseman in the draft and he could make an impact on the team this year. But Hextall said, no, this guy is going to develop. We're going to let him play in juniors. We're going to give him a chance to learn his game a little more and kind of slowly build him instead of oh, well, everyone else is saying he's NHL ready. Bring him to the NHL. I think that, that should get you excited also, just thinking to have, Ron Hextall being so confident in himself. So if the guy does make the roster next year, you probably know he's ready to go.
And piggybacking off that with what Ron Hextall said, with people already questioning him about players like Konechny and Provorov, he said if they can prove they belong here and they will be an asset to this team and they can help the team, they will earn their spot here.
Okay, so Nick, off the bat, my friend Nick, who goes to Stockton, he immediately corrected me. He cannot go to the minors because he's 19. So also that hurts to know that he's 1 year younger than I am. Ow. But even in the minors, he'll still be effective because he could be able to continually grow his game if he doesn't make the team. And I kind of did mean back to juniors, but it's okay. I think he'll get the opportunity that he will earn eventually because he's on the forefront of that essentially.
We'll see how preseason goes.
Absolutely. Speaking of nominations, seeing as Provorov won himself the WHL Defenseman of the Year, Shane Gostisbehere is in the final races for the Calder Cup, or not the Calder Cup, for the Calder Trophy for outstanding rookie performance between himself, Connor McDavid, who's played 53 games, and actual 45-year-old Artemi Panarin. Who do you guys think takes home the Calder?
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to come down to between Ghost and McDavid. I can't pick a winner. I honestly have no idea what their standards are going to be because McDavid is McJesus.
To them.
But Ghost is a
I don't believe in McJesus.
I don't either. I don't believe in specific McJesus here.
I was having a discussion with this last night with my stepdad. It's tough because the two guys that Ghost gets nominated against
are forwards.
Not only are they both forwards, they're both, you could almost already call them stars.
Yeah.
Panarin, albeit he's, 80 years old.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to win it just because everyone's going to say, wow, he scored a lot of points. Patrick Kane had a career season, and Patrick Kane having a career season is Patrick Kane is Patrick Kane, so that says something.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to points and stuff, it's going to be Panarin. If it came to impact on a team, it'd be between Ghost and Panarin. Yeah. The only reason McDavid would be in there is because of the hype around him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not only that, but he did put up a pretty decent amount of points.
I think he was point a game or something.
And he missed he only played less than 30 games before he got hurt.
Don't get me wrong. He deserves to be there.
But I don't think he deserves to win.
Right.
No. The team still wasn't impressive. They were still bottom of the NHL, even with him there. He himself did fine, but the team around him didn't do well.
They even built their goaltending up, too.
I don't know how Calder nomination works, but I think it should be in part of stats and in part of impact on the team.
I agree 100%.
And if it comes to impact on the team, that's a split. I'd give it to Ghost, but I think Panarin's going to win.
Okay. So, as read by Wikipedia, because they're going to be my most trusted source here.
You were quick on the draw there.
The Calder Memorial Trophy is an annual award given, quote, to the players selected as the most proficient in his first year of competition. Vague is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
That to me gives me stats.
And first year of competition, by that standard,
Okay, so-
Mr. Panarin should be disqualified.
So
Well,
let
first year back,
if we go, let's
Yeah.
go back like a few years. Let's go back to the lockout.
Okay.
So after the lockout, Alex Ovechkin won Rookie of the Year. Makes sense. The dude was filthy.
Yeah.
He had some insane.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
for sure.
The year after that, Malkin won. Don't remember what he did his rookie year, but he still
Probably put up a lot of Genos and apples.
probably. Wow, I can't believe you just said this.
Can't believe you've done this.
2000. I can't believe you've. Okay. In 2007, Patrick Kane won.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yes. In 2008, our boy Steve Mason, 10 shutouts.
10 shutouts that year, yeah.
In 2009, Tyler Myers.
Wow.
Right? Okay. No, don't worry. It gets worse. In 2010, Jeff Skinner. A lot of potential. I still see potential.
Yeah, I still
in
see
him.
what he's got.
If he wasn't on the Hurricanes, I think we'd be looking at that the same with like a Patrick Kane. Where
Same
it's like, yeah,
thing with me and Tyler Myers. If he was on any other team that hasn't been Buffalo or Winnipeg, he would be a really good defender. If you put him under the wing of Zdeno Chara, he would actually probably be one of the best defensemen 3 years down the line. Probably.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that though. 2011 was Gabriel Landeskog because he was named a captain like
Yeah.
really young, so they saw a lot in him.
And to be honest, he's done good things there as captain.
And
He's only going to get better.
And then it's weird. Since 2011, the Rookie of the Year has come from only two different teams, the Avs and the Panthers. Because you have Landeskog in 2011, McKinnon in 2013, Huberdeau in 2012, and then Ekblad in 2014.
All good players, to be honest with you, all deserving players. I think if you were to put Ghost in like three of those different Calder nominations
He
over
would
the
win.
past couple of years, he would downright win it. But he, I think, got pulled the short straw this year with getting put in a class with Panarin, who's 24, and McDavid, who's God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me vouch for Ghost. All right, so just follow me for a second. So Connor McDavid, he's all right. He easily the most overhyped player.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how good he actually is. I followed him from when he entered juniors until now. So I've seen him progress greatly. He's good, but
not great.
no, he's great. I wouldn't necessarily give him Rookie of the Year because he didn't really. If we're talking like a full impact, I would not give it to McDavid. Artemi Panarin got to experience what it was like to hear about the Titanic sinking in 1912. What I'm saying is, I think Artemi Panarin is not the guy you go with here either, mostly because this isn't his first. I mean, there is a leap. There is a severe leap between the KHL and the NHL. The NHL is the best hockey league in
Yes.
the world. But at the same time, you're still getting professional experience playing
Against
in a
men.
professional league against men as old, if not older than you are. So, and I think Gostisbehere is this his first actual. Well, you mean you could say the same. Well, no, you can't say the same for the NCAA because it goes up to 22. So for Ghost,
And
it's his first year, first full. Well, not even full. First year in the NHL. The Flyers are slumping. They're playing like garbage. They're worried about like taking a lottery pick 20 games into the season, and then Ghost comes along. You get a breath of fresh air. The team's revitalized. They're scoring from all depths. Claude Giroux is making Ghost into like a player to watch and defend against. Gostisbehere puts up the 14 game or 16. What was it?
I think 15.
He puts
I
up
could
the
be wrong.
point streak. He puts
Yeah.
up the point streak,
the streak.
which he's a defenseman. So the fact that he's putting up point streaks as a like a point streak that long as a defenseman,
Double-digit point streak.
and
Yeah.
he broke Brian Leach's record for longest one held by a rookie. Since, well, I guess Leach did it.
Yeah.
I think Ghost, if obviously there might be some, well, actually I wouldn't even consider that bias. I think because Ghost had the most significant impact out of any three rookie considered for the Calder right now and he should win, in my opinion.
I agree. And you got to think, too, with Ghost. He blew out his knee. He didn't play much last year.
No.
Like, he had no practice. Like, his knee just finished rehabbing, like, late summer, early September. So he could have even missed the season, but he came back.
The thing is, and I'm going to go back to the whole KHL thing. How many players do we see coming out of college, especially top picks, saying, this guy's going to be starting this league forever? It doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
It happened with Eichel last year, but besides that, you don't hear about the NCAA putting out obviously good players have come into the NCAA.
Not
Don't get me
since
wrong,
the-
Ryan Suter, Zach. I mean, those
That
old
was the
Minnesota
last era that's
those
memorable.
Minnesota Golden Gopher
Yeah.
teams were unbelievable, and the old North Dakota State teams
Yeah.
were unbelievable. But out of the Russian leagues, the European leagues, the Super League, stuff like that, it's European players getting drafted out of those leagues is a yearly thing.
Yeah.
It's the Canadian juniors and the European leagues, and the NCAA is mixed in there
Hit
at
and
number
miss.
3 at one point. It's tough because I don't want to say we see it through a rosy shade that we
Yeah.
think Gostisbehere could win it, but it almost seems like, why wouldn't Gostisbehere win it?
Like it's like hard to really compare. I mean, the only thing that really you could say in an argument for Panarin is the fact that he put up like 80 points.
Yeah.
in
Playing on a
his
line with Patrick Kane.
first year. And I know a lot of people like to make that argument, but it's like, if you put RJ Umberger on a line with Patrick Kane, is he really going to put up anywhere near 80 points?
He'll get assists. Even if it touches him,
Is
he'll
he
get
really?
assists. Maybe
Is
not
he
80,
re-
but
is
he
he
could
re-
get 50.
He won't put up 80 points. He will put up more than one goal in 2 years.
I saw his one goal. I'm proud of that.
but
Irrelevant.
But he-
Continue.
but he'll put up points.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Panarin has skill, unbelievable amounts of skill.
Yeah.
He deserves to be there, but I think people focus a little too much on the 80 points. If he were playing on a line with a normal player, if he was playing on a Shen Simmons line, he'd probably be a 50-point scorer, not an 80-point scorer.
Maybe.
You can't say some of those points didn't come from playing with Patrick Kane.
I think if you say think of it this way. If you ask the question, would Panarin put up as many points without Patrick Kane? Or if you put him on a different team that's not as successful as the Blackhawks, does he perform the same?
Not to say it's the same thing, but even last year with Teravainen, because he was a rookie last year, right?
I was gonna say,
Oh,
is Panarin a flash in the pan like Teravainen was last year?
Yeah, where all suddenly maybe next year another rookie comes up to play with Kane, and Panarin just falls off.
I mean, unless they keep them together, and that's a good question to see what happens.
and what are they going to do with the money situation, too?
They're also front loaded, and he's got 2-3 years on like a minimum deal.
And the bonus that they had to pay him is like screwing them.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not in good company for cap space.
No.
Okay, so I think this transitions perfectly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick like a really short song, like a
Okay.
very short, like a 2-minute song. We're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna recap the Flyers season. And oh Jesus, this is not what I wanted. Searching for things is hard on the computer when I'm stupid. Ow. Okay. So we're going to come back. We're going to be talking about the year in review, essentially, for the Flyers. Let's see. Just because this is like the first one I saw that was under 2 minutes. Where did this go? Okay, there it is. I'm not entirely blind. All right. So we will be back in a short minute and 50 seconds. Join us again after this very small break, and we'll pick it up from there. All right. We'll talk to you guys in a bit. You're listening to Winecast. Bam. And we're back like that. Like I said, we just need a quick refresher time, go over some things. Before we go into Flyer stuff, Jason had a question for us. With Frederik Andersen potentially being the top goaltender on the free agent market this offseason, where do you see him ending up, and what average salary do you think he's worth?
He's going to be getting top goaltender money. I don't know where. unless he
A few places come
unless
to
he goes
mind.
to a place like Dallas, because both those goalies are kind of old. If
Trash.
Edmonton
Should've
ever pays on a goalie again.
Should have kept Cam
Calgary.
Talbot. I mean, yeah, Calgary's like the first team I always think of. It depends if they think they're like Stanley Cup ready or not. If they are, or if they do think they are, he might be the go-to option. However, I think Dallas will pay deeply out of pocket to get their hands.
Do you
on
think a place
Freddie
like
Anderson.
Winnipeg would also try to make the
With
most
how
out of the
Pavlik
roster?
did this year,
With the roster they have, trying to make the most out of what they have left out of like Dustin Bufflin.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I feel like they might just fire sale people. At the same time, Andrew Ladd might go back to that team.
You think he'd pull what's his name from the Coyotes last year?
Vermette.
Yeah,
Antoine
Vermette.
Vermette.
Antoine.
I think that was his plan because he only has like this year was his last year of his contract, so I think he's probably going to end up re-signing and being the captain of the Jets again.
Didn't go as well as Vermette's, but I mean, you know,
No,
Yeah.
that's just because the Blackhawks are trash too,
it's true.
in a very special way.
It's true.
Sorry, the Blackhawks. I think that might factor into the Calder talks a little bit.
First round exit.
First round exit for both the Flyers and the Blackhawks.
No round
Well, we
exit
didn't
for the Oilers.
True.
So I mean,
I mean, they didn't even make it. They were not even.
They weren't
close.
even close.
Close,
They weren't
yeah.
even. They weren't in the talk. They were in the talk like when we remember like early in the season
they were in the playoffs
when
spot.
McDavid was injured and they were in like the 8th spot
Yep.
and everyone's like, oh my god, we're gonna get McDavid back. We're going to the playoffs. And then
Whomp.
McDavid comes back and it all goes downhill.
That's about how Edmonton seasons have gone. Jim says Winnipeg has Hellebuck, so they
True.
might stick
Is
with
he- is-
him.
is he-
And also, they have Matthews too, or whatever his name is. They have
that's true.
They have another young goal, so they might. Depends on whether or not
if
they want.
If
to,
that were the case, that'd be the fire sale move. If they were talking about, you know, because Hellebuck's kind of young, isn't he?
Very,
He's
yeah.
he's a young. That'd be the point where they'd be like, all right, we got a young goalie. There's some players on our team that aren't that young. Bufflin, go to a different team. You know, whoever, go to different teams. We don't want you anymore. And then just start raising up the young players because they have a lot of good young
They have a
players.
good
Yeah.
core
I think
coming
Winnipeg's
up,
one of
yeah.
those teams that in the next few years, don't be surprised to see him back in it because first of all, the playoff games last year in
Right.
Winnipeg were awesome.
of course.
Oh my god, they were
The atmosphere is great.
incredible. And they have a good young core too. That'll be, you know, vaunted one day.
Unlike
Mark
some
my
other
words.
teams I know.
So-
Shakes fist angrily.
So we have some suggestions from the fans. Jim Sharkey off the bat. We have Edmonton for Anderson, Toronto. Nick Scarella also says he goes to the Leafs. That finalizes the rebuild.
I can see that going to
I
the
think that
Leafs.
makes
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
about
sense.
finalizing the rebuild though.
I don't want to say it's a 1-year rebuild because they just did the whole fire sale, but I
Yeah.
mean, I think it, you know.
It
think-
could very well happen.
Well, yes. I mean,
yeah.
Austin Matthews could be that kind of player.
Yeah, because it's going to be like Austin Matthews, Anderson, Kadri, Gardner,
JVR.
JV. Like they're going to have a pretty decent team as long as the injury bug doesn't like start with Joffrey Lupul and then he infects everybody on the roster, because that's how he tends to work.
And they got rid of their pylon, so
And they did. Dion Fagoof is gone.
Well, I think it's one of those things, and again, all this is speculation when we look at it
Okay.
now and say, you know, the numbers, oh my God, you know, all these guys together will be awesome. But sometimes it just doesn't come together, and the Maple Leafs have been one of those teams where it you feel like it never really came together. Even when they had, you know, during the lockout season when they made the playoffs, and you felt like it finally came together. They had a good roster of players.
Right.
You know, Reimer had a great year. They got Jonathan Bernier, and all of a sudden everything's on the up and up, and it just all falls apart.
Yep.
Right.
That it just Toronto seems like one of those teams that can just never figure it out.
At the same time, though, with Mike Dad Babcock, I think they might have a better chance at being organized. Also, Jason tries to bring up the point that the Leafs have Sparks, and easily my favorite goalie last name in the NHL right
Sparks?
now. No, Bibiu. There's Bibiu and Sparks. I think one of them's probably going to catch the minors if they'd sign Anderson.
Yeah.
Garrett Sparks might be the one to like back up in the NHL. Let's see. We got some more comments. Oh, someone suggested maybe Carolina.
Yeah.
Cam Ward would be a very old backup, but like he didn't play.
He didn't play terrible.
they just
this
still have Eddie
season?
Lack though.
How many years has he left? Like
He-
I want
he
to say
ju-
2.
He just signed a deal, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure he
that's
just.
right.
I'm pretty sure he
Well,
just signed with them. So
You could trade Cam Ward.
which would be the move. And I mean, he's been one of those guys like Kevin Shattenkirk that's been in the talks for the past 10 years. Like, oh, where's Cam Ward going? Oh, he's staying in Carolina.
Yeah.
And it'll happen again this offseason. Oh, where's Cam Ward going? Where's Kevin Shattenkirk going? Oh, it's over. Well, I think we all know where Kevin Shattenkirk's going.
To Philly. If only. If only. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to finally come down to our year in review for our Philadelphia Flyers. We've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's been a fun year. After a lottery year and a year of rebuilding, let us reminisce over the season we've had together with some recap questions. So this is for everybody at home, and we're going to list through some of them. Let's hear our favorite new face on the Flyers from this year, particularly pertaining to Gagne, Cousins, because he got his full year here, Wheel, Gudis, and Neuwirth.
I'm going to have to go with Michael Neuwirth because he's a big, lovable goof.
He is a goof.
He puts up shutouts like no one's business. Like he's not even, like he doesn't even have to try. When he plays net, it just looks so natural.
Because
It
that
comes
is
so
him
easy to
trying.
him.
I
Yeah.
think like you could. He doesn't like try to stretch himself too
he
far.
conserves his movements and he conserves his energy. Like he plays goalie so well. Like we have like a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
It's not who's starter, who's backup. They're both kind of
We
like
have
the
goalie
starter.
1 and
Yeah.
goalie A.
Yeah. Exactly. And the team plays for him.
Yeah.
And the chemistry that it's built with this whole Czech connection with him, Gudis, and Voracek, it's such a good thing, and it helps the locker room chemistry too.
Kyle?
I don't see how you don't say Michael Neuwirth. Gudis was a pleasant surprise. Gagne was was better than I thought he was going to be. But Neuwirth did so much for this team. And coming from a guy who everyone thought was kind of a career backup and a bit of a bust, I think we learned that he could realistically be a starting goalie of a playoff team. And the thing that he does that I like better than Steve Mason is Neuwirth can make all the saves, and so can Mason, but Neuwirth can make the big saves, the saves
Right.
you need
The
when
timely
you
saves.
need them. Yes. Mason can do that too, don't get me wrong. But Neuwirth, it just seems like a natural thing where, when you need a save, Mason lets it in. When you need a save, Neuwirth will make that incredible, like, oh my God, how'd he do it?
Like the one against the Wild.
Yep.
Exactly. Like that. But then again, you also think Steve Mason, that one against the Penguins, when it's, what was it, 1-0 Penguins, he made that, pad stack glove save, which was unbelievable.
Rip. Rip my heart.
But
after
again,
that.
with a thing with Mason is 9 times out of 10, that probably goes in.
Yeah.
With Neuwirth, it'd probably be more like, 6 or 7 times out of 10. Just because it seems like he can make those saves better than Mason can.
Okay.
I like both. I just like Neuwirth better.
Fair enough. For me, this list is a little hard and a little biased because I have two of my boys on the list, Sam Gagne and Jordan Wheel. Jim Sharkey says Gagne to take the less likely pick. His chemistry with some of the guys seems great, and they just have fun playing.
His energy's great too.
I would say Gagne is very close. If it weren't for the fact that Neuwirth basically helped keep our season going when Mason went cold, I'm going to give that one to Neuwirth. But I do love the addition of Gagne, even though he may or may not stick around after this season. I think he should. Because
I think he should.
He's
earned it.
developed a lot with this team, and I think he could generate points further than what he did this year. Let's see if the group chat has any other things. Nope. Okay. I did just get a message though. He's okay. So Nick says Gudis was paid peanuts and was logging the same minutes and numbers as Ryan Suter.
Yeah, it's
That
true.
is pretty incredible.
And again, Gudis had an unfathomably good year.
Yes.
Mine and Justin's friend Tristan, who's a Lightning fan,
From
I
what
asked,
he
I asked
said.
him as soon as the Flyers got him, I said, what should I expect with a guy like Radko Gudis? He said he plays good defense but takes really stupid penalties. And he lived up to that.
For the most part.
But
Until
The
like
offensive upside.
but he
that came
also
with it.
was something where you don't realize how hard of a shot he has until he takes it. And the thing is, he just wildly throws them at the net, which
Yep.
works for a guy like him. It works.
It feels nice because we haven't really like had this since.
Well, no, I think our shooting defenseman over the past years has always been Kimo Timonen.
And Delzato last year.
Delzato last year. But besides that, you've had guys like, Braden Coburn and I'm missing names right now.
Andrew McDonald.
Curtis Foster.
Curtis Fox, yeah. Oscar
Kent
Bartulis.
Huskins.
Oh my God,
I mean,
I'm blanking. I have something for this. Jesus.
to have a guy that's an enforcer,
Oliver Lauritsen. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So that
He's in Jokerit now.
Yes, he is.
so to have a guy like Gudis, who we know is a good defensive defenseman, but can also shoot the puck, as much as a Shane Gostisbehere, is extremely refreshing. And is something that I think every team needs, and the Flyers have right now and should take advantage of.
I'd say if I were to put in terms of like a standing, like a third, second, first place, I'd say third would most likely be Gagne.
Yep.
Second, Gudis.
I agree
First,
100%
Neuwirth.
with that. Yep.
I think that makes the most sense.
Nothing against your boy, but I'd be surprised to see if Wheel was still on the team next year.
I want him.
Listen, he could be a good player easily, but
If they
he
found
does
I think we need to develop him.
absolutely nothing.
Because they didn't play him. I
but
mean,
the-
they
but the
played,
game-
they played him for like 2 games.
The games he-
But the game he played at the end of the season against the Islanders,
Yes.
even though it was
He
basically
was-
the B squad for them, he did a lot that game.
He did, but again, it's one of those things where I want to see him in the Penguins game. I want to see him come out in that Penguins game at the end of the season and just light the world on fire.
Yes.
Like a guy like Gostisbehere and Simmons did. Guys we
I
know
think-
can quote unquote ball.
Yes.
I want to see Wheel do that.
In
And
Wheel's
then I'll be
defense-
convinced that Wheel is a player on this team.
In his
I-
defense, he did come late, so he didn't have as much time to develop chemistry and learn the system.
No, he didn't. And I
However, he has the opportunity this offseason
Yes, he does.
to not only learn the
we
system,
have to see what happens there.
but see if Hackstall likes the type of player he is. If anything, I think if Hextall is smart, he keeps him around, puts him in the AHL,
Yeah.
emergency call up. So that way, at least he's not a healthy scratch the entire season.
yeah. Well, at that point, and again, we'll see what he turns into. But I
Yes.
feel like we have another Jason Atkinson in Jordan Wheel. I get that feeling.
I would say that if we drafted him.
If we draft, but I feel like he's gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be so in between.
The thing
his entire
with
time
me,
there.
and the reason I like Jordan Wheel so much, I've been following him for 5 years now. I've been following him since he played for the Pats in the minors, and I think that he has a good upside. He's an extremely fast skater. He ships as a center, but he could easily go to the wing. I would love to see how he would work with Sam Gagne, Scott Lawton, and himself, because that would be kind of a crazy line if Jordan Wheel takes a lot of shots, even though he's a play or Lawton took a lot of shots. I think because he's a very essential asset that could be used. He's very fast. He's got good hands. He could be, if he were used correctly, he could be a better Sam Gagne.
Listen, I don't want to say we got him for a steal,
Oh, we did though.
but I mean,
We got something for essentially nothing.
You talk about what we got rid of and what we got
Yeah.
in return.
Yeah.
He could be nothing, and we still came out on the winning end of that deal.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think if you do like you said, maybe you play him in the minors and use him as an emergency call up or something, you get use out of him. Well, suddenly you came out on the winning end of that deal with the Kings,
Yeah.
which I don't want to say for once because we got Simmons and Shen from the Kings, but Luke Shen's never going to win a Stanley Cup ever in his entire
not.
life.
Probably not. I'd probably hinge my bets on that. On to the next topic. We did cover that for quite some time. So one of the more negative categories for the show today, the player with the least progress made.
Matt Reed.
You guys are. I don't have to say anything. I've said it every time I've come on the show. Matt Reed. Why is he? Why? If we're gonna play a guy like Jordan Wheel, scratch Matt Reed. He does nothing special that makes me think he should still be on this team.
Yep.
Nothing.
Been a steady decline.
Yeah.
It was.
Kind of called this last year, but whatever.
You could after
The writing was pretty much on the
after
walls.
2012 during that lockout season, you could see it because there was a point where he was trying to he would shoot the puck, he wouldn't play defense, and then he stopped shooting the puck and playing defense, and then he stopped playing defense, So now he just kind of skates around the ice and hope the puck hits him.
Yeah.
Completely. That is a waste of 10 minutes of ice time.
And then,
so true.
And then
though.
apparently, whenever he goes to the Islanders or to New York, Long Island, or Brooklyn or whatever, or to Toronto, he will apparently go to his favorite restaurant in those areas, get the best meal he's ever made or ever ordered in his life, and then score against those two teams alone, and then be miserable on the road the rest of the year. Where are you at? Wake up.
Because
stay woke.
Well,
Idiot,
I mean,
you bum.
for him, it doesn't really attest to his skill being able to score against the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you.
No, you're right.
And in some cases, same with Halak. He can sometimes be extremely leaky.
Yeah.
When it comes to goalies,
Like last year with
Like
the
his
whole
en-
Shen
like his entire
on the blue
career,
line. Yeah.
2010 in the conference final against the Flyers.
Yep.
His entire Blues career.
Sadly.
Well, his entire playoffs Blues career. He was a pretty good regular
Yeah.
season goalie, but
Just like Bruce Boudreau is a good regular season coach. And then we saw that happen. Next topic. We didn't even. Oh, we only stuck on Matt Reed. So you guys picked Matt Reed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Matt Reed too. I'm gonna stay safe on this one.
how don't you? The thing is like late in that season, everyone picks their game up, and pretty much everyone on the team you say,
Even Ryan White picked his game up.
well, Ryan White was always a.
He is.
I told
Yeah.
you I was excited to have Ryan White.
Yes, I think he kept himself a spot
Yes,
on
He
this
did
team this year.
But the one guy you never ever talked about, well, I talked about in a very
Negatively.
negative connotation, Matt Reed.
Dad Reed,
Who hopefully, it's me knocking on wood, will be with a different team next year.
I've got the need for Reed to be gone.
which moves us into our next topic. Justin suggested.
Oh, that was a nice transition I had.
It was.
Which player, the player that is most likely to be bought out or moved, aside from the one that we already,
I was about to say
We all
Umber.
know of her.
aside from him.
I already answered this question.
Yeah, Dad Reed. I gotta say Dad Reed. The money versus positive Corsi with him, it's no longer worth
How
it.
about points to Corsi?
Any
it's-
Corsi whatsoever? There's nothing positive Corsi.
What about
Let
Well,
Corsi?
alone
no, he
points.
has a high positive Corsi, but he just
Well, I mean,
didn't.
it's not
his
enough.
Points don't show.
Yeah.
He even talked about that
He was,
on
playing with,
Media
he
Day.
was playing with Gagne and Lawton, who played pretty well together. So his numbers can look great playing with those guys. But if he's not doing anything himself, what does it matter?
Like for the longest time, he was basically playing with what is now our two-line center, and he didn't do anything then, except for 1 year somehow scoring the most shorthanded goals supposedly.
He says next year he's going to come
Yeah,
back
they're-
stronger and all this stuff.
But Umberger said the same thing
Yeah,
last year,
and did worse.
and then he got healthy scratched.
to be fair, in the case of Matt Reed's shorthanded goals, there was 2 years where the Flyers' penalty kill
Was
better at
amazing.
scoring
Was
than their
disgusting.
5-on-5
Yeah.
power play.
Which is basically what it is now, or what it was in the postseason against the Capitals.
Their power play, at least until later in the season, was incredible.
It was.
You talk about putting Ryan White or Wayne Simmons in front of the net. Gostisbehere as a shooting option. Radko Gudas as a shooting option. It was unbelievable. It's just people kind of figured it out because he kept doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think going into next year, if you get a guy like Provorov up here, all suddenly it turns
Another
into a
guy to watch,
whole
yeah.
different idea.
Yep. Which is pretty gosh darn exciting. Okay, on to the next one. So, who had the most improvement all around? Forwards, defensemen, or goalies
It's
compared to
tough.
last year?
I'm going to have to go with Sean Couturier.
Well, no, not individually.
In group.
In group.
Oh, in
so
group.
which
Oh,
improved
okay.
more, the offense, the defense, or the goalies?
It's got to be the defense.
Yeah.
It's got to be the defense. When you talk about the impact of having puck moving defensemen, which you see with a team like Nashville, and how important a puck moving back end can be, and how much better they got at puck moving this year as compared to last year, it's got to be the defense. I mean, obviously the offense got better, but I think that was in part due to the defense.
Defense for multiple reasons. A, the regular season performance was amazing. Yes, we would yell at Nick Schultz, but we yelled at him much less this year.
Yeah. It was a lot quieter for Nick Schultz than it was. And even Andrew McDonald compared
he
to...
played great. Andrew
Well,
Amac led the Flyers in plus minus for the season.
I wouldn't say great. I would say
Compared to his
competent.
previous. Okay,
I would say
competent.
competent.
Okay.
There is a significant and stagnant difference between competent
Fine.
and great.
Great for Amac.
See, that's still competent.
Fair enough.
So some sounds from the peanut gallery. Jason thinks that Reed turns it around next year, but not for 50 points. Jim said there really is no one else besides Reed and Umberger here. And then Jim said, I don't think so. Gagne slipped into his offensive role towards the end of the season, and he wasn't even doing much PK, which was his major role before. He won't get those chances to score anymore. And then Jim also said defense had the greatest improvement.
And look at the playoffs, too. The few goals we scored came from Amek, Ghost,
Very few.
and Voracek, and White.
Yeah.
So
And we'll have to see. I don't think the offense improved too much this year. I mean,
no. I will say Shen, Simmons, and Couturier.
But that's what I mean is the fact that the little improvement we saw from the offensive core came from the defensive core.
which
Right.
made it a lot easier to watch, to be honest.
It's much easier for that first line to move the puck up the ice when it's
Yeah.
Gostisbehere throwing it to him, not Braden Coburn.
Yes.
Okay. So admittedly, last year I suffered through a lot more games than I did this year. Like this year was a lot easier to watch through games. Games were exciting. Games had energy to them.
There were 2 games this year that I got just so pissed off at. One was the Flyers Avalanche game early in the season where Matt and I went to and we got shut out 4-0, and there was a Let's Go Eagles chant starting.
Hooray.
2, Flyers Penguins game Kyle and I went to where the Flyers just decided they didn't want to play that day.
And got moited.
Yeah.
Moving on to more positive aspects, though.
Yes, let's do that.
So, this is where I wanted to focus more outside of the broad generalization. So, the individual who improved the most.
Sean Couturier.
Okay.
He went from two-way center who needed to step up his offensive game to he's fitting the mold of an elite two-way center in this team. Just wait till next year. I guarantee you he'll be on the same level as some of the other stars in this league in the two-way center position. The injury kind of hurt him. He had
Obviously. Injuries hurt.
Yeah, well, he had 2 instances.
Injuries.
Like, I feel he could have made a difference in that Capital Series. Maybe not a huge one. Maybe it would have gone to 7 games instead of 6.
Yeah.
But I think he could have made a difference.
Braden Shen.
Yeah.
You talk about what he did for that top line when he came up, especially when they were struggling, and the amount of points he was able to put up, which again replaces a guy like Matt Reed.
I agree. Yep.
Trash can.
Yeah. It
Don't talk like Tom Wilson about that.
It speaks wonders to, how good Braden Shen was even when Voracek was out and struggling, Shen was able to come up and put up impressive numbers.
Right.
Rookie of the Year numbers.
I think Bishen probably takes my pick for this one. I think I was serious. I was a doubter at the beginning of the season. In fact, I still make jokes.
You made the Amanda Bynes sign, though.
I did make the Amanda Bynes sign, though, which was great. I'll have to make that like into a legitimate
When we go
poster.
next year, yeah.
I will make it a legitimate poster
Fantastic.
eventually.
I want one.
I will make it for you specifically.
Thank you.
So I think Bishen had like the greatest improvement over last year. I didn't expect him to do well. I thought he probably would have gotten traded. Braden Shen, I think, has been playing a lot like don't throw booze at me erratically too quickly. I think he's playing a lot like Eric Lindros in a sense. Minus the actual body type.
No, I can see he is stepping up his hitting game. He's leveled some people.
He holds together better than Lindros did.
And that's what we're looking for. I think like he's found a very good scoring touch, being able to fluctuate between lines 1 and 2. He's been a smart, like we've been ragging on him for like how terrible he is at fighting and how bad some of his whiffs are when he comes like to big misses on hits. This year he stepped it up. We saw him fight better fights.
He crushed some people.
He
this year.
racked TJ Oshie and made him rushing for like 5 seconds. Braden Shen has leveled people into Kingdom Come this year. I love what I've seen from him this year.
I also don't think it should go unbeknownst because I think we seem to forget about it.
Yes.
But Michael Del Zotto had a much better season than he had last year.
It was a huge shame to lose him.
And we forget about that just because of his injury. But you talk about the time he played, and obviously we knew what he could do with scoring because he's an offensive defenseman. But his ability to lead the defensive core was incredible, especially early in the season when it was kind of a new core of players besides the couple bums we have in the top 6.
Look back to the OT game against Minnesota that he put the game winner in. Like his offensive awareness as a defenseman is fantastic.
You could look at any of the games and talk about kind of his defensive, like his shot blocking has greatly improved.
Oh my God,
whereas last year he couldn't get in front of a shot to save his life. So I think, and again, I also have my vote be Braden Shen, but I just think we can't forget Michael Delzato had a great season.
We can't.
Right.
And I expect him to be significantly better than
Next
last
year,
or this past year. Okay, so more comments from the peanut gallery. They're talking about Gagne's like shootout ability. I think holding on to him as an asset for as long as we can, because
Yes, I
as long
agree.
as the shootouts are around, you might as well keep a specialist. So it's between like him and Jussi Jokinen, who is the most creative man in hockey. Jason says it has to be Bishen. He provided a scoring touch we haven't seen from him before. Jim says Neuwirth, he came into the league with doubts to the rest of his career, and now people are respecting him. He came into the Flyers with doubts.
But he also came from Buffalo, which some of those doubts
Yeah.
have come from.
He played more than acceptable.
He played very well, and not to he was obviously greatly improved, but he played well with Buffalo.
It wasn't
That's
his fault. His team just wasn't scoring
when
for him
you're
or
playing with
defense.
Buffalo, it's you're not thought of very much.
No.
Who's
Yeah.
thinking of Robin Lehner right now as like no one's thinking about Robin Lehner right
Nope.
now because he plays with Buffalo.
Nick kind of is.
Really?
Just because he gets chippy. I love how aggressive he gets.
Oh yeah, well,
That's because I'm a diehard, so I can't. But no casual fan's going to be like, oh, yeah, I love
no.
Robin
If you
Lehner.
go to the Wells Fargo Center, ask 100 people about who Robin Lehner's
Who's
playing
that?
for. 90 of them.
Is he Batman's sidekick? Like, who's that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to know who he is, let alone his team.
Jason also continues to say about B. Shen, he showed a grittiness with talent that Philly loves. And
Yeah,
we do.
absolutely.
Perfect transition. Okay, so we're in the final three categories of our recap. What was your favorite moment of this season?
I may be biased just because it was a playoff game, but Game 4 of the playoffs, being in that atmosphere, it was just, I cannot even put it into words. Like, my dad and I had literally the greatest time we ever had at a hockey game at that game. And it shows Ghost even more.
Yeah,
So,
Kyle.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Belmar's empty netter against the Penguins.
yes.
That was Bummer.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I'm usually, and you can ask Justin, I'm usually a pretty tame hockey
Yep.
fan where I can, if we're at a Flyers game, I'll enjoy it, but
course.
I can,
He's reserved.
I'm
He's
very
more
reserved with
yeah.
my excitement.
compared to the rest of us.
Whereas I
was-
gave a lady a heart attack at a PJ Wheelahands.
I was jumping around screaming like a little girl when Belmar intercepted that pass and put in the empty net, because that, for me, when I look back and think what was the 2015-16 season, that in my mind is going to be this season. Is going to be, it's the one time we beat the Penguins this season, but it was in the biggest game possible.
Right.
And it was just one of those moments that, like, at least as a Flyers fan, you'll remember where you were when you saw that.
Right.
When you beat the Penguins to make the playoffs.
Jim also says beating the Penguins to clinch a playoff spot was his favorite. Personally, for me, because I'm going to be completely biased about this, when I went to the game against the Capitals near the end of the regular season in like March, I want to say 28th or 30th, when they beat them in the shootout and Steve had the
glove
save, the dirty birdie save on Evgeny Kuznetsov.
That was unbelievable.
That was.
I went nuts. That I only have those like one game a year, and it's always near the end of the year. Last year or 2 years ago, when I saw them have a bare knuckle brawl against Carolina, where it came down to the 7-6 score in like overtime or shootout
Thanks,
or
Heater.
whatever. Cal Heater, what a boy. I think that's the Capital. Like seeing like the Flyers win a game in the shootout is incredible, even if it's like not instant. But
Well,
I got to see the Flyers win a shootout game live.
What is it?
Unfathomable.
3-82 this year, or 3 shootout wins in 82 games this year. Mm-hmm. That's like rare.
Yeah,
you talk about seeing that is like, I mean, I was at the Rangers game where the Rangers tied it up in like the last 15 seconds and lost in the shootout.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of shootouts in the 4 years I've been going to Flyers games. I'm pretty sure they haven't won any of them. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm pretty sure they've lost every single one.
So I feel like this might be like a more special moment for me because I got to witness Sam Gagner pot one home for a W, which may never actually happen again. Jason says his favorite moment of the season was off the slump on the board, RJ Umberg.
That was a good one.
One of those special calls that you just remember.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
Looks up and just does this.
That's like the what's his name? The 5-OT winner. That's in Umberger's mind. That's his own 5-OT winner.
Yeah.
He's in 5
Eddie
overtimes
Albert.
of sucking. Yeah. And that's his overtime winner.
Only his 5
Before he goes
overtimes,
back
like
and-
82
It just
overtimes.
took more than a calendar year.
Yeah.
All right. Our second to last one. Who this year is your guys' team MVP?
Kyle, do you have yours? Because I got to think about this one.
Wayne Simmons.
Okay.
He is a guy that every year, and I've talked to fans of other teams besides that one stupid Capitals fan that seems to think that Simmons sucks.
All right. We're going to eliminate him from the.
Yes.
From the
So everyone I've talked to, fans of other teams, will always tell you that they wish they had Wayne Simmons or a player like Wayne Simmons because he plays hard-nosed Philadelphia hockey. He gets in there and he'll fight for the puck. He'll get it out, but he's got skill, so he's able to deke. He's got a good, accurate shot, but he also plays disciplined. He plays close enough to the line where he doesn't usually get himself in too much trouble. And you saw it again this year in big situations, being able to score the big goal. 2 goals against the Penguins in that game we had to win. I hate that we keep referring to that, but that, biggest game of the season.
Yeah, it was pretty big. in terms of
So,
importance.
and obviously the playoffs, we'll forget about the playoffs because,
The whole team, everyone was dead tired.
We played the toughest team in the league who's actually getting thrashed by the Penguins right now.
We
Because they're
softened
the
them up
hottest.
for them.
What?
We
We
did.
softened them up physically.
We did. We helped
Eat
them out.
that, Tom Wilson. Trash can.
Yeah. Tom Wilson. But but yeah, I think it's got to go to Simmons just because he had another great year, but he had, it wasn't a career year, but it was a Wayne Simmons year.
Yeah.
You set a new high in goals.
True. Yeah, he had 32 goals.
Jason said he'd pick Simmons. Last year we lost him for the year, and we were a lottery team. This year he scored the biggest game in the biggest games to lead us to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard. It's a hard decision for me, but it's down between Wayne Simmons and Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux, I think, has the biggest overall impact in terms of like locker room and being a leader. He is to Ghost now what Danny Briere was to himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the best leader we could hope for. At the same time, people are legitimately afraid to mess with Wayne Simmons. Like having him as a presence is kind of nuts because he is the type of player that Ed Snyder wants like 18 of for like his entire team. And he I think Wayne Simmons might have been the omni-important player this year because he did everything for us. Everything.
Claude Giroux is one of those guys that I always think kind of goes unbeknownst. Just because we all know what Claude Giroux is, and we know
We
what
all
he
know at
brings.
heart that he does. Yeah,
He's wearing the C for a reason, so we all know and
course.
expect him to be the team MVP every year. I mean, if it weren't for that, I'd probably pick a guy like Claude Giroux, just because again, a guy like 5'11" leading a team like the Flyers, who to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It says a lot. So
Jason also says, I think we made the playoffs every year Simmons has been here minus the year we lost him.
man, you talk about the 20 what is it? 13-14, was that when they played the Rangers?
yes,
Yeah.
His impact in that playoff series,
huge.
he scored a hat trick in an elimination game, but he was huge that whole series.
Yeah.
And that, I think all around player and clutch player, Wayne Simmons is probably the best.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek, they're all star players, like superstar players. Excellent skill and more recognizable names. But Wayne Simmons, I think, when it comes to his all-around play, is the best player on the team.
Wayne Simmons just has this like stone cold like mentality in terms of clutch situations. Like he is cool, calm, and collected under the tightest of pressure situations.
He's that quarterback in the fourth quarter during the 2-minute drive that isn't afraid to get out there and get the ball. He's not the guy hiding in the corner. He wants to be out there with the puck in the final minute, standing in front of the net, trying to get that. He likes that, and that's what we need.
This
a
is
guy
the
that
man
likes
who
that.
scored a goal off his nose and broke his nose.
and then came back to that game.
Yes.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Love Wayne Simmons and very deserving of his A. Someone tried to tell me last year that he did not deserve the A, and I'm like, you are nuts.
Yeah.
This
that's
person
not-
also believed that Couturier should have been the captain, Matt Reed and Braden Coburn should have been the alternates.
That's hilarious.
So look at where they are now.
Was he also the one that advocated the Umberger Hartnell trade?
Is this?
I don't remember.
Is this the something and the big guy?
Not that guy.
Okay.
It's a girl. Anyway, Jim says, I love Mason. I will read this word for word because he spelled it something wrong. I love Mason, and I've been saying Neuwirth for a few things, but Ghost took us over the hump of average, but Neuwirth kept us at least average until Amazon came back and kept out season alive in the playoffs. And then he's like, Mason, not Amazon.
Amazon was my second choice.
Great Rainforest.
He Amazon does everything that we need. Provides us with oxygen.
Yeah.
Cool, weird animals, and they hold all the big spiders.
And they kill
MVP of the
penguins.
world.
The Amazon can easily kill
Amazon.
penguins.
Amazon is the team MVP.
Easily.
Don't let it save the
Easily.
Rainforest, fam. Okay. So for our final category, which I think is the perfect way to leave our show for the year, I want at least, this can be accumulated, so at least one per person. I want 3 total steaming hot takes for next year.
Is Matt Reed still on the team?
Let's assume not. And saying Matt Reed is going to be on the team is not a hot enough take.
Provorov wins the Calder.
Okay, that's a pretty steaming hot take. I'll go with that.
Flyers get to the conference final.
Binal.
And the Amazon.
And the
Get to
Amazon.
the conference final. Get to the conference final behind the strong play of both their goaltenders, the way the Stars are right now.
The Stars goaltenders are trash. Are you trying to say something here?
Yes. Because we don't have Jamie Benn and Tyler Sate.
But we do have Steve and Michael.
Mostly Michael.
Dad.
Mostly Neuberth. Okay. Oh, good God. Here's where I get into trouble. Thinking is difficult. If people who are listening want to throw in a hot take, feel free. I will announce yours live. This is really tough. Jesus.
I got another hot take.
Go. Honestly,
Drew puts up more than 90.
All right. That's pretty hot. Just honestly, just rattle them off. We can just keep going for a while.
This could be a fun time.
All right.
Ghost puts over 60.
Goths to Spare is a Norris finalist.
I like it.
That is a
I
hot
like
take.
it.
Especially because now apparently we're grading on Norris finalists on points.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the new Carlson.
He is
I like
Carlson
it. I like
now.
it.
Okay.
Boom. Spicy.
That is a spicy hot take. I think I'm trying to remember. I don't know what the actual. Someone just okay. Oh, here's interesting. Jason's hot take for next year: Sanheim outperforms Provorov.
That's a good one.
That is a fiery.
That
hot
is
take.
Chipotle.
Chipotle sauce hot take.
Chipotle sauce hot
Getting
take.
the ghost peppers up in here.
Man, I don't know about that.
I'm currently looking up. Here we go. Mark says Provorov will be our Aaron Ekblad.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Mason goes down. Neuwirth wins 40 games.
Jesus Christ.
Spice
Superstar.
is getting too hot.
Hold on.
Getting to that ghost pepper burger that they have at Wendy's hot.
Yeah.
Like
We're not sponsored
you're
by
getting
Wendy's.
out of hand with these. Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, now I'm just kind of throwing fists in the dark. and
You
hoping I
wanted
get
hot
something.
takes, Nick.
I did want hot takes. Keep them
Cousins puts up 50.
coming. Oh, Jesus.
Well, okay, let's not get out of hand.
Someone literally said Cousins puts up 60 points. So they beat you to it.
Oh.
He said Cousins scores 20 and then Apple's 40. Jesus. That is quite an skewed amount.
How
Our
about,
power play percentage is going to be at 28.7.
how about this? How about this? The Flyers get Kevin Shattenkirk in a trade that sends Jake Voracek to St. Louis.
Oh, don't even start.
Spicy.
I think, okay, here's my hot take. I think Wayne Simmons leads the team in points next year by a 30-point margin.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Mostly on the power play.
I'm gonna say
If Justin's power play percentage is
I'm
correct?
gonna say he scores 15 points on the power play.
Flyers have a top-ranked power play, but a bottom-ranked penalty kill. That's not.
I don't know.
Very hot,
I
that's
don't
not very
know
hot
about
and spicy. That's just true.
I don't know if
We'll
that's gonna
see.
happen next year. I think they pull in a pretty decent bottom six forward to wrangle that in.
They do. They just
Here's-
always suck on the penalty kill.
Ooh, we have two fresh hot take memes. Jason says future Flyer Louis Erickson scores 30. Jim says Flyers win 6 shootouts.
Oh my God.
Flyers winning 4 would be a
Sir, you're getting out of hand.
That's a hot take right there.
Actually, his wording is the hottest take of them all. Flyers win 6 shootout wins.
That is pretty hot. That is pretty hot.
Nick Schultz scores an overtime goal.
Oh, don't you even dare!
Nick Schultz scores a goal.
Nick Schultz gets ice time in overtime. Mark says Vezina finalist Steve Mason. Okay, here's a hot take. Here's like a legitimate hot take. I think not only do the Flyers get to the postseason next year, I think Steve takes us through the first round on his back.
Here's a question on that.
Yes.
Home ice for the Flyers or not?
Yes. They get home ice.
There's your hot take.
That is pretty hot.
That is
Boise. Pretty hot.
Jason says Coots wins the Selke. Jesus Christ, we have everybody winning a goddamn trophy.
The Flyers win the Stanley Cup. Let's go.
All right. I think that is the hottest take we could probably get.
Ryan White wins the Art Ross.
That is the hottest take we're going to get out of this. Oh, my God. Here we go. Assuming that Matt Reed stays on this team, Matt Steelman believes that it eventually will be, by the end of the postseason, Conn Smythe winning Matt Reed.
Holy shit.
Okay, how about this? I will put it out there right now.
Okay.
If Matt Reed gets 50 points next year and is on the Flyers, I will sell my $200 Steve Mason jersey online for 10 cents.
All right.
Mark my word.
This is going on YouTube after the show's
Mark
over.
my word.
This is incredible if this actually happens. I'm hoping he stays on this team.
If he gets traded, I immediately win.
Of course.
If he gets traded,
If he gets traded,
on the
cut,
Flyers,
if he gets,
scores 50 points, I will sell my Steve Mason jersey for 10 cents.
if he gets traded, cut, or bought out, it will be void.
Correct.
And we will move on from there.
Correct.
But for now,
And I'll get to keep my $200 Steve Mason jersey.
let's hope to God that, oh my God, the hot takes are still coming. Jim says Flyers draft Max Jones. Jason says Flyers sign Steven Stamkos.
Oh my God.
Flyers trade up to the #1 overall pick, get Austin Matthews.
Oh Jesus, the hot takes are really getting out of
Austin
hand.
Matthews, Jake Voracek, and Claude Giroux on the same line.
Oh my
Basically,
God.
Hextall trades Andrew McDonald for the final piece of the defensive core that Toronto really needs to lead them to a cup for Austin Matthews. I think it might be a smart time to end it here.
Before it
getting
gets
out of
too out of
hand.
hand.
We're getting. It's already gotten out of hand. I don't think we can get much more out of hand.
We're going
than we
to some
actually have
dirty
been.
zones.
We are entering a place that we don't want to enter.
The danger zone.
Danger zone. And you know what? That's what we're going to end up on. So I hope everybody has enjoyed our mess of a show this year.
Hopefully we start next year in the same radio station.
And we most likely will. So I want to thank everyone for either participating, listening in, or coming down to Widener University to join us.
I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Steelman. We love you. We miss you. Hopefully you're here more next year.
Yeah, because it's been quite a while. Oh, here's one more hot take to finish off the.
I have to take my coat off here. It's getting a little hot.
It's getting steamy in here. Okay, we got 2. Jason says Keith Premu becomes Flyers concussion specialist. Jim says Flyers sign more centers. And with that, we are going to leave you in the only place that we could leave you, and that's the danger zone. I hope everybody enjoys their summer, and we will be back next year with even hotter takes than we ever could have imagined before. We'll see you guys next year.
Can I leave you on one more hot take before we leave?
Absolutely.
Phillies make the playoffs.
Oh my God.
Let's do the thing. Hope everybody has a great year, and we'll be back next year.
Have a good summer, gents.
Thanks you for having me.
And I hope everybody here enjoys themselves. Now let's enjoy some Kenny Loggins Danger Zone.
This is going on a YouTube video too. You need to.
We'll see. It might go on Vimeo. I don't want to get copyright claimed.